So she's
I mean,
a
they
serial
sound reasonable.
fraudster. She's that's called fraud. None of it was just due.
Blake Lively's career is hanging by a thread. What started as a Hollywood power move has turned into a PR nightmare, with lawsuits, brutal takedowns from major media personalities, and even her closest allies backing away. From a $650 million legal battle to being labeled a serial fraudster, it looks like Blake's carefully curated image is unraveling before our eyes. And if you thought Amber Heard's downfall was bad, just wait until you hear this.
Due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person.
Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. On live radio, she called Blake a serial fraudster and a disgrace to feminism, accusing her of making false harassment claims that make it harder for real victims to be believed. And honestly, the evidence is stacking up against Blake. Kelly broke it down in the most brutal way possible, going over every shady move Blake has allegedly made. She exposed how Blake has a history of playing the victim while pulling strings behind the scenes, throwing people under the bus whenever it benefits her. Megyn wasn't just giving an opinion, she was laying out receipts.
She is accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us.
According to multiple reports, Blake systematically turned the entire cast of It Ends With Us against director Justin Baldoni, manipulating behind the scenes, spreading misinformation, and ruining careers. Kelly even highlighted the eerie parallels between Blake's tactics and those used by Amber Heard, suggesting that Hollywood has seen this type of con artist before. And then came the knockout punch. Kelly pointed out that Blake's entire legal case is crumbling. None of her accusations against Baldoni have held up under scrutiny, and every single claim has been countered with hard evidence. Text messages, production footage, and receipts paint a completely different picture. One that exposes Blake as a manipulative force, not the innocent victim she's pretending to be. Kelly also addressed the bizarre claim that Blake sees herself as some kind of Hollywood queen protected by dragons. In leaked messages, Blake allegedly referred to Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift as her personal defenders, her dragons, who would go to war for her. But as Kelly pointed out, that delusion is rapidly crashing down, especially as even Taylor Swift is rumored to be distancing herself. This isn't just a minor controversy, it's a full-scale Hollywood disaster. Megyn Kelly, known for her sharp takes and unapologetic honesty, didn't mince words. She made it clear that Blake is fighting a battle she cannot win. And if Kelly's takedown wasn't already devastating enough, other major media figures have started jumping on board, hammering Blake's credibility even further.
Text messaging and so on that puts a totally different light on her horrific allegations than you see what she actually said.
Blake must have thought she could pull off the scam of the century, take over a movie, slap false accusations on its director, and walk away playing the innocent victim. But instead, her reputation is in free fall. And here's where it gets bizarre. Blake reportedly bragged in private messages about having dragons to defend her. Who were these dragons? Her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and pop icon Taylor Swift. She actually called them her dragons, thinking their influence would shield her from scrutiny. Instead, her manipulative tactics have been fully exposed.
She wrested his movie away from him and decided to...
Blake and Ryan have landed themselves in a catastrophic legal mess. It started when Blake accused Baldoni of sexual harassment and a smear campaign. But Baldoni hit back hard, with a $400 million defamation countersuit that exposed her false claims with undeniable receipts, including text messages and production footage that tell a very different story than the one Blake tried to sell. And it doesn't stop there. Baldoni also sued the New York Times for $250 million for biased reporting that blindly sided with Blake without fact-checking the allegations. That brings the grand total to a jaw-dropping $650 million in lawsuits. And let's be real, Ryan Reynolds has Marvel money, but even Deadpool can't save them from this financial disaster. But let's break this down further. What exactly are these lawsuits alleging? Baldoni's defamation suit is more than just a defense mechanism. It's an aggressive move to reclaim his reputation. He's argued that Blake's accusations were strategically planned to not only tarnish his name, but also to give her more creative control over It Ends With Us. And here's the kicker. Industry insiders claim that Blake had been angling for more influence in Hollywood for years. By positioning herself as a victim and accusing Baldoni of misconduct, she attempted to seize power over the project entirely. But her plan backfired, spectacularly. In his countersuit, Baldoni presents a trove of evidence contradicting Blake's claims, including on-set footage, emails, and text messages proving that she was deeply involved in decision-making all along. Instead of being an actress sidelined by a manipulative director, she was the one pulling strings behind the scenes. On top of that, multiple crew members from the production have now spoken out, revealing that Blake's behavior on set was far from professional. Reports suggest she was constantly making last-minute demands, reworking scripts without approval, and pressuring the production team into making changes that suited her personal vision. And when things didn't go her way, she allegedly resorted to playing the victim, blaming Baldoni for every issue on set. And let's talk about the New York Times lawsuit. Baldoni isn't just suing over biased coverage. He's arguing that the publication willfully ignored key evidence in favor of a sensationalized narrative. In court documents, he claims that reporters were fed a one-sided story directly from Blake's camp and chose not to verify key details before publishing their articles. If this case holds up in court, it could have major implications for media accountability in Hollywood.
She called herself Khaleesi and said Ryan Reynolds and we believe Taylor Swift were her dragon.
To make matters worse for Blake, some legal analysts believe that if Baldoni wins his case, it could financially devastate her and
she's
Ryan
just another
Reynolds.
Hollywood manipulator who got
While
caught.
Reynolds is still a major Hollywood star, even his massive fortune might not be enough to protect them from a ruling of this magnitude. If the couple is forced to settle, they could lose a significant portion of their assets, including investments in multiple businesses, properties, and brand deals.
And she's got the best dragons because they'll fight on behalf of her friends too.
So what happens next? Industry insiders say this case is far from over. While Blake is desperately trying to control the narrative, Baldoni is refusing to back down, and with more evidence surfacing against her, it's becoming harder for her team to spin the situation in her favor. One thing is clear, this is no longer just about a lawsuit. It's a full-blown war for survival in Hollywood, and the outcome could change everything.
Now she and Taylor are reportedly on the outs because Taylor Swift is like, bitch, I'm nobody's dragon.
Enter Candace Owens, the outspoken conservative commentator who has never been one to hold back. Owens took to her platform to expose Blake's manipulative tactics, painting a picture of a woman who has been carefully orchestrating a false narrative for years. Owens revealed that Blake and Ryan weren't just fighting in court. They were actively working behind the scenes to sway public opinion in their favor. According to Owens, they reached out to several high-profile influencers, journalists, and Hollywood insiders, pressuring them to side against Baldoni. The bombshell? Owens claims that Blake personally reached out to Jenny Slate and Liz Plank, urging them to publicly support her allegations against Baldoni. But here's the twist. Jenny Slate saw right through the manipulation and flat out refused to get involved. That alone speaks volumes. Slate, known for her advocacy and activism, didn't want her name attached to what she reportedly saw as a blatant attempt at character assassination. And then there's Liz Plank. Owens exposed how Ryan Reynolds allegedly offered her a ridiculous bribe. Not cash, but a meaningless gig as a bromance expert in his soccer documentary. That's right. Instead of offering her something of real value, he gave her a superficial role just to ensure she'd take Blake's side. Owens called this move Hollywood corruption at its finest.
Of her secret desires to actually play a much bigger role than that of lead actress.
But the manipulation didn't stop there. Owens went on to claim that Blake and Ryan were reaching out to entertainment media executives, attempting to suppress negative press and highlight biased articles that framed them as the victims. They were allegedly trying to get major outlets to focus on Baldoni's past and drum up controversy where none existed. Owens also pointed out how suspiciously timed charitable donations started popping up, almost as if Blake and Ryan were trying to distract from the controversy. She stated, "Whenever a Hollywood elite starts donating huge amounts to charity right when their reputation is tanking, you should be asking why." The biggest revelation? Owens claimed that a former Hollywood insider approached her, revealing that Blake had been using similar manipulation tactics for years. According to this source, Blake has always tried to control narratives by turning colleagues against each other, leveraging her celebrity status to get what she wants.
See some evidence now that Blake Lively may have a history.
With Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and even some of Blake's former allies speaking out. It's becoming harder for her to maintain the victim narrative. The more people dig into this scandal, the worse it looks for her. And if even Hollywood insiders are starting to distance themselves, it might just be the beginning of the end for Blake Lively's reign in Hollywood. For years, Blake and Taylor Swift have been one of Hollywood's most adored celebrity friendships. They've shared vacations, posted adorable tributes to one another, and even collaborated professionally. Blake directed one of Taylor's music videos, and Taylor has referenced Blake's children in her songs. But now? Silence. And in the world of Taylor Swift, silence speaks volumes. Rumors have been swirling that Taylor has begun distancing herself from the drama surrounding Blake. And let's be real, Taylor is a PR mastermind. If she thought for a second that Blake was innocent, she would be publicly defending her. But she isn't. Instead, insiders claim that Taylor has been keeping her distance, choosing not to comment on the controversy, despite being dragged into it. Adding fuel to the speculation, Swifties have noticed that Taylor has subtly started removing any public references to Blake. Some fans claim that past social media interactions between the two have mysteriously disappeared. And let's not forget that Taylor is extremely cautious about her public image. She would never willingly attach herself to someone whose reputation is crumbling, unless she was certain they were innocent. Entertainment insiders suggest that Taylor's team has advised her to stay out of the chaos to protect her brand. It makes sense. Taylor has built an empire on her relatability and authenticity, and any association with Blake's scandal could risk damaging that carefully curated image. On top of that, multiple reports claim that Taylor has been spending less time with Blake and more time with other A-list friends like Selena Gomez and Sophie Turner. This shift has not gone unnoticed, and fans are wondering if Taylor is strategically phasing Blake out of her inner circle. If Taylor is indeed cutting ties, this could be a devastating blow for Blake. Taylor's influence in Hollywood is unmatched. Her endorsement, or lack thereof, can make or break reputations. And with Taylor remaining tight-lipped about the situation, it's not looking good for Blake. This scandal isn't just affecting Blake, it's exposing a much bigger issue in Hollywood. More actors and directors are speaking out about similar manipulative tactics, and industry insiders are being forced to pick sides. Is this the start of a major reckoning in Hollywood? Are we finally seeing the end of unchecked celebrity power? So what do you think? Has Blake Lively's Hollywood reign come to an end? Should she be cancelled for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more celebrity deep dives. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud. None of it was just
Blake Lively's career is hanging by a thread. What started as a Hollywood power move has turned into a PR nightmare, with lawsuits, brutal takedowns from major media personalities, and even her closest allies backing away. From a $650 million legal battle to being labeled a serial fraudster, it looks like Blake's carefully curated image is unraveling before our eyes. And if you thought Amber Heard's downfall was bad, just wait until